Hello everyone, now you will hear a short retelling of the movie Never Give Up. Enjoy watching. During a game of American football, an embittered opponent recalled Jack Tyler, his father, who had been drinking and recently died. The guy wasn't used to restraining himself, so both the ball and the rest of the players got hurt. All this led to a massive fight. But Jack doesn't worry too much. He's moving to another city anyway. Margot is tired of her son constantly getting into fights, and she hopes that he will control himself in a new place. The family is moving because of Jake's younger brother Charlie, a budding tennis player. Orlando has one of the best tennis schools. A high school student will have to get used to a new school. Near the stadium, he saw one kid hitting another. He stood up for Pat Latouf, but immediately got an elbow in the head from him. Apparently, they have some kind of school fight club here, and the new guy was invited to go about his business further. A girl with a strange name, Bok, noticed Jake and began flirting with him after school. At home, his mother reminded Jake that he had been kicked out of school twice and taken to the police station 6 times. It's time to calm down. The next day, the curly-haired man approached Jake and introduced himself. Max and his friends found out that the new kid had caused a serious fight at the last school. The local guys are always fighting, and such a fighter would look good in their fight club. The video of the fight went viral, and Jake became famous. Baha invited the kid to come to a party tonight. Jake's mood immediately lifted. The party takes place in a luxurious mansion. It seems that all the youth of the city have gathered here. It's time to meet the owner of the house, Ryan McCarthy. Everywhere you look, there are girls in bikinis, but according to Ryan, the real fun is happening in the backyard right now. Boys and girls, and even former lovers, participate in fights without rules on the grass, and Ryan organized all this madness. Suddenly, he informed the guest that they would fight against each other right now. The new guy definitely did not expect this and refused, but his opinion of the local champion is not interested. To make Jake lose his temper, Ryan kissed his girlfriend Bahu. Jake headed for the exit anyway, but they wouldn't let him out of here that easily. Ryan knew what to say and remembered Jake's dad, who crashed drunk in his car. It was enough for the guy to accept the challenge and put on gloves. Jake briskly went forward, but the opponent knows the techniques of fighting, so he quickly unwound the navis. Then Jake cheated and was able to break Ryan a couple of times. But boxing alone is not enough for such a fight. Jake did not know how to escape from low kicks on his legs, and soon fell to the lawn. Ryan climbed on top of him and broke in a couple more times, pretending to let Jake get up, but instead added a foot. However, Jake does not give up. He got to his feet, and then the opponent treated him like a punching bag. Max asks the novice not to get up, but he did not listen to him. And then the champion knocked him out with a powerful kick. Max used to drag the poor guy home. His beating became the main topic of discussion at school. Ryan is very pleased with himself. Jake spent the whole day lying in bed, and in the evening Max looked in on him again. He says Jake didn't stand a chance. His dad sent Ryan to the karate section when he was 4 years old. The guy dragged a disc with the best wrestling techniques. He also invited Jake to learn Muay Thai from his mentor Gene Roker. They say you can't just wipe yourself off after yesterday's disgrace. After thinking for a while, the young man came to the club. He immediately asked to train with an advanced group. Jean drives her charges from one shell to another until she is completely exhausted. In the end, Jake was barely able to reach the ceiling on a rope and collapsed exhausted on the deck. But it was just a warm-up. Jean divided the guys into pairs. Jake thinks he's been given too shallow a partner, but only a couple of seconds have passed, and now the ball is already giving up after being taken for a painful one. Jake is also seriously lagging behind in percussion. He didn't know what to do with the chokehold either. He should have clapped, but the stubborn man decided to sleep. He never gives up. Jean liked Jake, but he made it a condition for him not to fight outside the gym. In the evening, Baha came to him to ask for forgiveness. Jake is angry at Bahu and is not going to forgive her because she then lured the guy so that her lover would clean his face. In the morning, he came to the gym an hour earlier and paid immediately for 2 months of training. John decided to teach his Wardlow kick and proper breathing during strokes. The coach showed him what a really strong kick was, and the bag drove off to the other end of the gym. Bok is so unhappy around the major, but for some reason she keeps hanging out with him. Jake spends his days training, but Mom has her own exercises to clean up after everyone after work. She reproached the elder for not going to Charlie's game, and he could have supported the kid. The woman is also trying to figure out what the $200 he withdrew from his account went for. When his mother saw the gloves, she got angry and ordered Jake to stop fighting. The next time, Jake and Bahu were brought together by a teacher. They began to sort things out right during class. After school, she approached Ryan and claimed that he had deceived her. The guy promised that it would be an easy sparring match, but in the end he almost hurt Jake. Because of this, Baha decided to break up with him. Ryan grabbed the girl roughly by the arm, and Jake immediately stood up for her. Jake was too aggressive in training. Jong advises him to cool down. He has to control the fight every second. But the youngster did not listen to him and attacked the coach. He punished him and sent him home to cool off. As he was leaving, the guy shouted to Jong that he was homeless because he lived in the gym. Jake decided to break away with 3 men with whom he did not share the road, and worked out the techniques he had learned for them. Max filmed the brutal beating on camera and posted the video on the internet on the same day. The whole school was talking about Jake again. Max also received dividends from his popularity. Only Baha remained disappointed in Jake. Ryan doesn't like the fact that his ex is rubbing next to a newcomer. He followed him into the bathroom and, having made a cut, stepped on Jake's throat. He wasn't impressed that the upstart had taken down some suckers. Ryan invited him to take part in an underground fighting tournament without rules and proved that he was cooler there. Leaving, the scoundrel kicked the guy in the thigh. At home, Max showed his friend the recordings from previous tournaments. Ryan became his champion twice. Jake came to the gym as usual, but Zhong forbade him to train here. He violated the main rule of not fighting outside the gym, so he was expelled. Charlie came home with a black eye today. The mother is sure that the influence of her eldest son is to blame for this and angrily smashed the plate against the wall, because not only Jake can be angry. Then the little one confessed that he had not fought. He just got hit by a tennis ball during practice. Jake and Max are guarding the coach at the gym. Max refuses to train without a friend and hopes to persuade Zhong to forgive the intruder. The guys ambushed the mentor and followed him to the store. Finally, Jake confessed that he started going to the gym only to get revenge on the guy who beat him up. He told me about his bouts of aggression and his father, who died in front of his eyes, about how he spoils the lives of his relatives. It is only in Zhong's hall that he extinguishes his anger. The man forgave the hot-tempered student and made Jake's training even more intense. He never used his legs during a fight, so he had to do stretching. Max supports and helps his friend in everything. It's time for Zhong to open up and talk about his past. His father was very proud of his younger brother, the strongest fighter, whom Zhong himself was far from. One day, a bull accosted him in a bar. The bully was beaten, but returned 10 minutes later and shot his brother. His father did not forgive Zhong for not looking after his younger brother, and they have not seen each other since. Finally, Jake came to the court to support Charlie. The guy decided to establish a relationship with Baha. A few words and then they were kissing. Jake's mom wanted to see where her son was missing all day. Zhong convinces the woman that the guys leave here less angry than when they come, so there's nothing to worry about. Margot paid for the next month of classes herself. Do him a favor and save his teeth, because my insurance is not very generous. Max has received a text message. The tournament will take place tomorrow night. He was surprised to learn that Jake was not going to participate in it. Ryan's dad showed his friends who was really in charge here and humiliated his son in front of their eyes. He expects his son to beat the strongest at the tournament, because there is a rumor around that Jake will now be able to beat Ryan. However, he's not going to participate in the tournament Ryan decided to get to him through Max. He brought the guy to his mansion and offered to have a mock fight. The Major began to give the guest one plop after another. After making fun of him, he proceeded to openly beat the guy and hammered his head into the floor. Ryan's friends left a half-dead poor guy at his doorstep, fractured ribs and nose, stitches on lip and cheek. Jake left his friend in the hospital and, taking the bait, went to the tournament. Both Bok and Zhong tried to dissuade him. If the guy fights again, the coach won't forgive him a second time. But Jake tries to convince the man that he is wrong. You can't hide forever and let degenerates do whatever they want. This is his fight, and he's going to finish it. Jake arrived at the club where the tournament will be held. Mats were laid out in the middle of the place, and the first fight immediately began. The smaller fighter was felled by a powerful kick. A total of 30 participants will participate in the tournament. Jake signed up and the draw immediately brought him together with the champion Ryan McCarthy. However, the organizers got it wrong. Instead of Tyler, the champion has to fight Taylor. Ryan warmed up and declassified his opponent with his knees and elbows. Jake took his opponent on pain and didn't spend much effort on him. A capoeirist came out against Ryan, who danced for a long time, but fell from one precise blow to the head. In the next fight, Jake's arm was wrung himself, but he managed to get out and began to twist his opponent as he pleased. The fighter could not escape from his painful grip, so he surrendered. Ryan faced a fairly strong Asian man and, realizing that he would not be able to defeat him at a stand-up position, successfully carried out a stranglehold. There are 8 applicants left, and Rokes is constantly working on Jake's ribs and not letting him breathe. I couldn't overcome it. Our hero again received a strong blow to the body and got into a painful grip, but did not give up and turned around. First appeared on top, and then held a strangle triangle. The victory was not easy for Jake. He reached the semi-finals injured. The guy immediately went to the locker room and applied ice to the broken ribs. Despite the pain, he stated that he would be able to continue. Bok came to support him. Ryan coped with his opponent much easier, but it was not enough for the sadist to simply win, and he decided to squeeze out the poor guy's eye. For this violation, Ryan was disqualified and the victory was awarded to a fighter with an injured eye. Upon learning that his enemy had flown out, Jake immediately gave up. The crowd was unhappy, but the guy doesn't care. He didn't come for the championship. The scumbag caught up with Jake in the parking lot. Ryan ran into Jake from behind, and the enemies started a meat grinder right there. This fight interested the crowd more than the final of the tournament, and everyone ran outside. By that time, Jake was lying on the asphalt, and Ryan was trying to break through the block. When our hero got to his feet, the Major began to constantly aim at the ribs. He threw Jake onto the hood of the car and hit the body again. He tried to take the opponent on a painful one, but was thrown to the asphalt with a swing. Ryan tried to strangle the guy with a guillotine technique, but flashing flashbacks did not allow Jake to pass out. He freed himself and performed a series of punches that Zhong had taught him. The scoundrel was sent to the deepest knockout. The Major respected Jake after the loss, and the guy managed to persuade Zhong to fly to Brazil and finally meet his family 7 years later.